Hello everybody, this is Jack Askew from Teaching ESL Online, and today I have an interview for you all with Diane from teacherdiane.com. Diane, welcome to Teaching ESL Online.
Thanks for having me, Jack.
Great, so firstly, just tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into online teaching.
Okay, well, I started teaching English about 5 years ago. I got my TEFL certification and I moved to Brazil and I taught English in a very small town in Brazil for 6 months. And that's when I really fell in love with teaching English. Before that, honestly, I just wanted to travel and to learn about different cultures. Um, But from this experience, I learned that I love teaching English, so I moved back to the United States and I taught English for 2 years in Chicago. I'm originally from New York, but there was a big language school in Chicago that offered me a position teaching English. After teaching for 2 years at that language school and interacting with students from all over the world again, I got the travel bug and wanted to travel some more. So I decided that the best way to travel um, and work would be to start my own business teaching English online. So in 2013, I started my own website, teacherdiane.com, which I offer personalized Skype lessons. So it's been 2 years now since I started, and it's been great.
Fantastic, yeah. Just to let everyone know, Diane contacted me just to reach out. But I'd actually been following Teacher Diane as well online and seeing what she was up to, noticing that she was doing something similar to what I was, and it sounds like we have quite a similar story in that the way that we started our online teaching business was because we wanted to be able to travel and live in different places and do things like that. But how did you find the transition going from working in Brazil and in the language schools in Chicago to teaching online?
Um, It was a big difference for me initially. At first, I was very hesitant because one of the reasons that I enjoyed teaching is the personal interaction of teaching, the one-on-one direct contact with people. This is one of the best parts of teaching. So I was hesitant at first, but I gave it a try. I tried it with one student who I had known for a long time. Just when she returned to her native country, we started doing Skype lessons, and I realized that I could do even more on the internet than I can do in the classroom. I could share my screen. I use a board that I write on to screen share, so it's as if I'm using the classroom whiteboard. And in addition, I can send links to websites. I can see what my students doing on their screen, and it feels just like real interaction. Also, I can do this from the comfort of my own home in my pajamas if I really wanted to. So it's very comfortable and also very, very realistic. There wasn't anything that was worse for me than teaching in person.
Great. So yeah, you found this transition quite smooth, and it also, as you said, it opened up different possibilities to what you could do with
Hmm.
your students online and how you could interact with them, how you could share lessons and things like that. Now, you mentioned that you use a whiteboard. What software do you use for teaching?
I use a Wacom tablet. I don't have it reachable at the moment, but it's just a tablet that I write on, and I can screen share with my students, and it looks to them just like a white screen with my face in the corner. I'm a very visual teacher, especially when I'm teaching grammar concepts, so this helps me a lot to explain things, and it helps the students to be able to see things more visually for the more visual learners.
Very interesting. I'll leave the link to that program underneath this video for everyone to have a look at. But that's a really interesting way to do that. Now, do you use that same kind of program when you're doing your YouTube videos? Because I notice you have very good visuals for your videos and different
Yes, I
photos.
use the same program. I draw all the cartoons myself, and I was blessed with very neat handwriting, so I write everything myself as well. And this is all done using a tablet and QuickTime Player on my Mac and iMovie, everything that was already installed on my Mac.
Fantastic. Did you get any inspiration to do that from anyone else when you started, or did you just think this is what I'm strong at doing and found ways to put that together?
Just from the fact that I'm a very visual learner, I'd always been visual in my teaching methods. So I found that I was explaining the same grammar concepts over and over to students, and I realized it would be a lot easier if I just recorded this so that I could send the link to students, so that's not taking away from lesson time. They could watch the link before the lesson, and then we could use the lesson time to practice the grammar and conversation.
Great, that's really interesting. And I'll leave a link to one of your videos underneath this interview too.
Okay, great.
So with the videos that you create, you post these on YouTube, and what has been the response for that? Has that helped you bring learners onto your website and into your lessons?
Yes, it's helped me a lot. It's actually one of my main forms of marketing my website. So at the beginning of each YouTube video, I post a link to my website, and throughout the video, I post additional links. And it has been one of the best sources of students.
Great. And were you, when starting out, were you a little bit hesitant to put yourself out there on YouTube and, to have yourself in a video, have your voice out there as well, or did you just go for it?
I don't usually have my face in videos. Sometimes I do my introductory video on my website and this video, but it's usually just my voice that you hear because the rest is just done with cartoons. And I'm not a big fan of my own voice. I don't think many people are big fans of their own voice, but a lot of students have told me that I sound very American. And I guess this is a compliment from them. I'm not sure. So students seem to be able to understand my voice and my videos.
That's cool. I find, sometimes English learners are very strong in their opinion about a British accent, American accent,
Yes,
Australian accent.
yes.
But yeah, I feel like, a lot of teachers, when they're doing this, do have that hesitation to put themselves out there on a video, and because worried about the responses they're going to get and things like that. And as you say, hearing your own voice, it's not it's not nice for anyone really, and it's
It's
something that
always
I
a
found.
shock. You don't think you
Yeah,
sound that way.
yeah, and it's something you get used to after a while. I feel, when I go through and edit my videos, I'm used to my voice and the way I speak now. But at first, it was a little bit strange.
Yeah, still sometimes I prefer not to watch them once they're posted. I prefer not to watch them again.
Sure. Um, Now moving on to Facebook, because I noticed that you post quite regularly on Facebook as well. So do you have a specific strategy for that?
At first I was post all the time on Facebook, posting every day, a few times a day, but then I learned quickly that you can schedule your posts. So now every Sunday I take an hour or so to schedule my posts for the whole week. And I do try to post about 2 or 3 times a day to my group, just one time with a question for students to answer, one time with a grammar joke, something humorous, and one time with something linking back to my website.
Right, so you actually have like a really good strategy there, where you batch your work, do it all on the Sunday, schedule those posts, and have that kind of variation in there. And do you get many like learners from Facebook? Because I know a lot of teachers and businesses in general are struggling a little bit right now with the organic reach. Have you
Yeah,
noticed it's gone down too?
I I get a decent amount of people from Facebook to YouTube, actually. From Facebook directly to my website, yes, students go for the free activities that I have on my website. I have free videos, free grammar practice, but not a lot of the Facebook users convert to students. I think because most people who are using the Facebook page are looking for free practice, free material. So this is my way, I guess, to make myself more known, but it doesn't convert as well as other marketing strategies.
Yeah, and I feel like it's sometimes hard to know, how tangible it is as well, because when you're posting things on Facebook, it does put your brand out there,
Yeah,
and it's hard to really track in a way if it's directly leading into learners coming into your lessons, because things like that can take quite a lot of time. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
and are you on any other social media websites?
Well, I use LinkedIn. I use um, Twitter. Occasionally, I'm trying to grow my Twitter following. Some other like Russian version of Facebook. I've tried to get in other social media in other countries, but not as strong of a presence as I have on Facebook and YouTube.
Right, great. Now let's just go back to your lessons now.
Mhm.
How do you plan your lessons? Is there a specific lesson plan that you have for certain kinds of students? Do you tailor every lesson differently? Do you use general resources? How do you go about planning your lessons?
It really depends on the student and their what type of learning they prefer. If they're more a visual learner, more hands-on learner. It also depends on the what the student wants, if they're preparing for a test, if they want more business English, more general English. I do have a lot of students that fall into the same category, which is typically adult business professionals, a lot of engineers, a lot of HR professionals, PR professionals, typically about an upper intermediate level of English. So a lot of my lessons I am able to reuse because I design lessons to focus on the grammar concept in the beginning of the lesson, but then to use that grammar concept in conversation for most of the lessons. So I have a lot of conversation questions in the present perfect tense for doctors, conversation questions in passive voice for engineers. So everything is very specific to each student, but I do get to recycle some things sometimes.
Yeah, I find
And
that
most of this
definitely.
is I've designed through my 5 years of teaching. And then initially I used some books, of course, to help me learn and some websites, but now most things I try to design on my own.
Great, great. Now, I also noticed that you have other teachers working for you. How has
Mhm.
that experience been for you?
It's been great. Actually, all the teachers that I have contracted that work with me on my website, I met in my travels. So I spent 6 months living in Ecuador and I met two of the teachers there. They were teaching English in Ecuador at that time and just looking for a way to make some extra money and a way to continue teaching when they decided to leave Ecuador. I also spent 6 months living in Thailand, where I met another English teacher. It's very easy to meet English teachers when you're traveling.
Definitely,
They're
I found
they're
that.
everywhere.
Yeah, I mean they are, and it's a big draw for people to move abroad and to be able to live in different places and teach English.
Mhm.
Um, Great. Now let's just finish with your plans for the future. What do you have planned for Teacher Dan? Do you have anything in the pipeline?
My plans for this year are to continue to focus on marketing my website, learn a little bit more about SEO marketing, and become more apparent in social media, extend my reach. In the future, long-term future, I'd like to develop more websites that are more niche, English for doctors, English for lawyers, English for HR professionals, because I do have all of these materials already. I just want to make it known to students that I have these. Also, I plan to create my own grammar book in the future, maybe an ebook, maybe a printable version, something like this. Long-term future, maybe open up my own school for ESL learners, for immigrants in the United States, something along those lines, but that's very long-term future.
Great. Well, lots of exciting things to come. Well, Dan, thank you so much for your time today. I'm sure everyone's going to find
Thank
this
you.
really, really useful. And is there a way people can get in contact with you?
Yeah, of course, they can contact me through email at diane@teacherdiane.com, or visit my website, teacherdiane.com, or my Facebook group, Learn English on Skype. I can have links to all of these at the bottom of the YouTube video.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, and we'll speak soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye.